We promise to treat you with respect and compassion.
Hi, I'm Jackie and I use services at Didcot. The psychiatrist and psychologist I've seen have always treated me as an equal, and the staff at reception have always been really welcoming. They know I ride a motorbike and they're really good if I feel a bit distressed after a session, to make sure that I'm okay before I leave to get on my motorbike. When I haven't been able to make it in, perhaps I've not felt well, or when there was snow recently, they were really good at discussing things over the phone with me or rearranging the appointment. I've never had any concerns over how I'd be treated, and in fact I've had a fantastic service from them.
We promise to listen to you and treat you as an individual.
Hi, my name's Clara Blackings. I'm 24 and I've been with Early Intervention Oxford for 3 years now, coming up in May. I'm currently a volunteer with Oxfordshire Mind. I work within their Information Publicity Office, and I also work in a community resource project based in Abingdon. I think having psychosis is pretty much an individual experience, so I don't think everyone can be placed into a box. In my particular experience, I found when I wanted to go back into university, all my care coordinators and my psychiatrists and my doctors worked quite well with me so that I could get my medication down to the correct dosage, so it was safe and convenient, and also so when I was doing my actual course I was able to have enough concentration to complete it. At the moment I think I'm very lucky to have my voluntary position, and I think I wouldn't have had it had I not had the support from my care coordinator, who put me in touch with the correct people in the community resource projects and the right people to speak to, and I think I couldn't be happier right now.
We promise to address you appropriately as you would wish.
Hello, I'm Jane Alder. I work with a community team for people with mental health problems, older adults with mental health problems. I have in the past also worked on the wards, and I think it's hugely important for us to remember that older people can often have very different values to younger people. They were brought up in a different generational culture, and sometimes that would be more formal. So I think we have to remember that very often our older people would prefer to be called by their last name, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Jones, whatever. We should respect that. Of course, that is not always the case. Some people like to be informal and be called by their first name, or even a nickname. And I think that is appropriate too, if that is what the service user is asking for. But we need to be sure about that first. If we're not sure, then I think it is appropriate to use their last name. If one of our service users is asking us to use a nickname, I think we have to be a bit careful, depending on what it is and how ill they are when they ask. If we think that when they become well they will be embarrassed about a name they've asked us to use, then we should not use that name, and we should gently tell them that we prefer to use maybe their first name.
We promise not to allow language or communication issues to become a barrier to understanding.
Okay, I'm Jeanette and I used to be a service user of mental health services in Buckinghamshire. When my mental health was at its worst, I developed a severe stutter, so that one or two words were difficult, but talking in a sentence was almost impossible. My self-esteem and self-confidence as a result were very, very low. But the staff were great. They treated me with dignity and respect, and it was little things like my appointments. They would turn up with making sure that there was pen and paper for me to write things down. I would prepare questions in advance, and we overcame all of the communication problems. I was able to type on a computer on one occasion, and it really showed me that that the staff cared, and it was a result of seeing that people cared that gave me hope. And by having that hope, eventually my speech came back, and I've developed strategies to cope with my flashbacks, and now I'm back at work and moving on with my life. But it was the staff treating me with dignity and respect and giving me hope that things could get better that made all of the difference. So thank you.
We promise to make sure you have access to information and choices appropriate to your care.
Hi, my name's Catherine Hall and I'm an ex-service user of mental health services. Been in mental health services for a while and had the great chance to go through the therapeutic community, the complex needs service. At the point I found out about it, it was a brand new service and just being set up. And in fact, I was the first person to go through and leave. And it was, you know, a really fantastic opportunity that I got to experience this service. It changed my life dramatically. And I am so lucky that I got that opportunity to experience that service and to go through that service. And it was a great opportunity as well to be part of the pioneering and setting it up and getting it going. And now it's quite an established and well-recognised service that lots of people are getting the choice to get the referral to and get involved in, and it's been helping many people to move on and recover, and it's been a great experience. Wow.
We promise to let you know how to access advocacy and support services if you need them.
Yes, my name's Carol and I'm a carer for my husband. I'm now retired, but I have been caring for him for about over 30 years. In the days before there were mental health teams or anything like that. More recently, 2 years ago, things had been going very badly wrong with my husband's treatment, and we were being offered all sorts of support, and I was asked if I'd ever had a carer's assessment, and I said yes, and that it was a totally pointless exercise and nothing had happened, but I was persuaded that things were different. And so I had a carer support worker to come to visit me, and I must admit, before I met her, I was just going through the motions. I thought it was a complete waste of time, but she was a lovely girl, and she talked me through the support that the carer support workers could offer, and she told me about various courses that I could go on and meetings that I could go to. And at the time, because things weren't very good at home, I felt I wasn't ready to commit to anything, but we agreed that I would see her again 3 months later. She suggested that I attend one of the evening courses with various other carers. And I must admit I was a bit reluctant, and she didn't try and pressurise me, but she did persuade me that it might be worth giving it a try. And thankfully I took her advice and I did give it a try, and I went to a series of meetings in Amersham which were run by Joy Janetta and her team, and I think there were about 6 or 8 of us all together, and it was actually the best thing I've ever done. It was really, really helpful. As a result of that, I actually feel now that I do have a voice and I should be listened to, and it's just made things a lot better.
We promise you'll be greeted and made to feel welcome when on a trusted site.
When my mother-in-law was first admitted to an inpatient ward, it was both a distressing and confusing time for all of the family. What really made a difference, though, was that the staff took the time to say hello and ask us how we were feeling. It would have been a much more stressful time if we were just left on the ward waiting and being ignored by the staff. Thankfully, that didn't happen.